Say something for the podcast. Tell the people what you feel.
I'm just jazzed about being on the show, man.
You are listening to The Objective Jerk, where objectiveness is the objective, and I am said jerk.
Happy Veterans Day to all my fellow veterans out there. Technically, for me, it was yesterday, but for most of my listeners, it is today. So, happy Veterans Day. And I did not refill my coffee before I started, so I might have to pause this and get some coffee. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well and having a great day, great week, all that stuff. I wanted to talk about a scary subject, honestly. Who here remembers? Who remembers the Patriot Act? Right? The I guess bill that Congress passed in response to 9/11, right? Because everybody was freaking out and scared about terrorists and everything. And so basically, the purpose of the Patriot Act was to, in a nutshell, deter, punish terrorists in the United States and around the world, to enhance law enforcement investigatory tools, I think I said that wrong, and other purposes, some of which include, and it talks about some other stuff, right? Being able to, basically, what it did was it gave, like, the FBI, they didn't need warrants. If all they had to say was, suspicious terrorist activity. Oh, okay, there you go. You know what I mean? Which, when used for that purpose, great. But we all know that they don't use it for just that. They use it to spy on the American people. And if you don't believe that, contact me, because I'll sell you some real estate out in outer space, okay? But basically, they used the 9/11 tax to pass a bill to kind of control the people. So we went from America and we one step closer to North Korea. You know what I mean? So I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to read like 2 paragraphs out of a website that kind of talks about this. It's called The Law Teacher. I'm just going to read from it because I'm not smart. Anyway, the Patriot Act came into existence as a response to the tragic events of 9/11. The bill that would come to be known as the Patriot Act was introduced to Congress just days after 9/11. It was revised because of concerns from many congressmen that the bill allowed too broad of a scope of power to federal authorities. So, what was that first one like? I'm curious. Eventually, after the bill was revised and reintroduced, Congress passed it with little opposition in October of 2001. Little opposition. No one probably really read it. No one really kind of thought about it because we were still cleaning up the mess. I mean, that was, just over a month after the attacks. So, that's one thing you got to think about. When crazy things go on, that's when the government tries to make things happen, which is why I'm talking about this, because we are on the brink of, or Congress is on the brink of passing the Patriot Act 2.0, basically, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But I'm just I'm getting a little history before I get into it. So, Senator Russell Feingold, Democrat, would be being the only senator to vote against it. Even though the Patriot Act did not come into existence after 9/11, it actually, a lot of what's in the bill was created back in 96. Clinton signed the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act into law. The bill for this law was introduced after Oklahoma City bombing, right? Another big another big disaster. That tinfoil hats debate. Same with 9/11, right? But I'm not here to talk about that. Anyway, the bill was greatly criticized by Republicans for granting too much power to authorities. The bill had to undergo major modification before it was passed in 96. That bill ended up becoming law, was said to be a watered-down version of the original that President Clinton wanted passed. Strangely enough, it was this act that was broadened and revamped to create the Patriot Act. So the stuff that they said was like, whoa, that's crazy. That's 1984 North Korea stuff. We can't do that. That ended up so that was thrown out and then became the Patriot Act. Okay. Since becoming law, the Patriot Act has been highly criticized for being extremely broad and too open for interpretation. So like I said, FBI, there's for whatever reason, they could know that this person's not a terrorist. They might be a bad person doing some criminal activity or whatever, but they can bypass getting a warrant by saying terrorism activities. Oh, okay, here you go. Do what you got to do. You know what I mean? In 2004, a judge ruled that parts of the Patriot Act were unconstitutional because they were too vague and in violation of the First and Fifth Amendments. Another criticism of the Patriot Act is that it does not guarantee enough oversight to make sure that those that are given power by the act do not misuse it, which, like I said before, do you think they don't misuse it? You don't think they abuse the power? You got these people that want to defund the police and say cops are jerks and all this kind of crap, but then you want to give all this power to the FBI and to other federal agencies, and it's like, I don't get it. Like, what? Anyway, I think that's about as much as I wanted to say about that. So the reason I'm talking about this, the reason I'm bringing it up, is Congress is about to pass, I think next week, the Biden rules, right? Which basically is like the Patriot Act, but for the internet, for the government to have control over the internet. Okay? So these rules would give the government a roving mandate to micromanage every aspect, pretty much every aspect of internet functions, from how ISPs allocate capital, where they build, the services that consumers can purchase, from the profit that the ISPs can realize, and how they market and advertise their services. Market and advertise, that's a big thing. Think about when elections are going on. To the discounts and promotions that consumers can receive. So, I don't know, I guess I could try and, I meant to actually, well, of course they want to, anyway, I'm not going to go into reading that whole thing, but look it up. Look up Biden rules and read into it and send a letter to your congressman, unless you want it to pass. But anyway, so think about the stuff that happened in the last election. So you had, the government was heavily involved in Twitter, which is factual knowledge now. You can't be like, oh yeah, no, it was. They had the evidence. They produced it. The government was involved with what Twitter could silence and post and make go away, or all that kind of stuff. Why Trump was taken off. So just think, if the government has control over everything, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to stop what they don't want put out and push what they do want. That's 1984, okay? That's North Korea. That's heading to North Korea. We're heading to North Korea, people, just very, very slowly. Hold on, I took a snapshot of something. So this was the spokesman for the White House talking about the Biden rules, right? President Biden, quote, so this is from Robin Patterson, White House spokesman, right? Quote, President Biden believes no parent should have to drive to a McDonald's parking lot so that their kid can do their homework, end quote. That's why he worked with Democrats and Republicans alike to pass the bipartisan infrastructure law to ensure every American has access to affordable, reliable, high-speed internet. Now, I mean, I get that, you know, there are probably still some people out there that don't have internet. But, and there's other parts in there that talk about like the rural areas, you know, they don't have internet out there in the country. They need to have internet too. It's like, well, the people in the country are the people that don't want crap like this passed. And the reason they're in the country is because they don't give a shit about the internet, you know? And there are ways to get internet out there, you know? But that's the administration trying to use look at these poor people, they got to go to McDonald's to get Wi-Fi. Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that in today's age. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody pays for data. Like that's their primary, that's their, you know, people would rather have data on their smartphone than have a car. You know what I mean? They just take the bus as long as they got data on their phone. So the whole thing about people can't do their schoolwork and stuff is like, that's BS, man. No. See, they're just trying to pander to your soft side. Like, oh, geez, that's right. There are some people that don't have internet. Yes, there are some people that don't have internet, but there are still ways for them to access internet. And I'm not willing to give up the control over my internet just, you know, for the people that weren't able to pay their internet bill for a month or two. Sorry, but that's how they do it. And then you notice what's going on in the world right now, and they're going to vote on this bill, and nobody's talking about nothing. I don't hear nothing about this. I mean, not in the, you know, people that look for it and keep tabs and watch, you know, the news, or more specifically like Congress, C-SPAN, things like that, you know, they're kind of tracking it, but the normal everyday person is not. They have no clue. And by the time they realize something ain't right, it's going to be way, way too late. So, you know, and then they try and say like, well, you know, internet monopolies, they don't want people in, you know, internet companies to have like a monopoly over the internet. And like, okay, yeah, that's, you know, a good thing. You know, where I live here for a while, there was only one internet company and they sucked. So finally we were able to get something else, and that's who we're going with, you know. So far so good, but time will tell. But so, I mean, that thing's good. So it's like, that's what they do, is they put a bunch of little things that are like, look good and sound good. But then at the very bottom in the fine print, they put down, yeah, we're going to be able to, you know, monitor and control everything on Google, the internet, your servers, this, that. We're going to be able to monitor your banking. Oh, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. Really? What did Canada do to the trucking company, or the trucking convoy and all that stuff, and the various farmers that were protesting about, you know, everything over there? They were, and then like, you know, GoFundMe's and all this stuff. They were stopping those. They were canceling those. People that were opposing it and just demonstrating, protesting, were getting their money taken away or getting their money held onto so they can't use it. You know, I read this while researching. Anything the government has the power to give you can easily be taken away. So think about that. So what's their ultimate plan? Like, think about it. okay, so they want people to have some internet and this and that, but really, that's, like I said, the sugar coating over the turd. They want to control because there is proof that there was cheating going on for the election. Now, did this proof result in Biden winning? I think so. But maybe the numbers, maybe Biden still would have quote unquote won, right? But there is proof of ballot stuffing and various other things. There's proof that Twitter was silencing, memes and things, about the laptop from dipshit and various things. Dude, there's proof of it, actual proof. And so when this passes, what do you think is going to happen? Everything good for Trump, you won't see. Only the negative. Everything good for Biden, you will see, and none of the negative. That's how they're going to try and win this election. I used to think that after all of this crap that's going on right now, like the court, the case, there we go, that Trump's involved in right now, which is the dumbest, most ridiculous thing. If you listen to what they're arguing and saying, and it's like, it is a kangaroo court. Like, that's the definition right there. Anyway, no! Oh, I lost it. Every time, dude. Every time. What was I talking about? I was talking about... Oh, that's right. So before, I was like, this is going to fail. The mugshot failed. Everything that they do fails, and it just makes Trump that much more popular. And I'm like, he's going to end up getting assassinated because that's going to be their last option, which maybe will still be true. But I'm thinking that this is their plan right here, to control the internet, to control what we see when it's convenient. Because like I said before, TikTok, right? TikTok posted, like, you couldn't find anything on the Maui fires, but you could find stuff on TikTok. And it's not just people talking about, it's people that were there in person, boots on the ground, recording stuff and sharing their experiences and everything. And with the people that live there, that's the only way you could see anything. So if something else happens, or like even the big train crash in with all the chemicals that went up in the air in Ohio or whatever, Iowa, remember that? Probably nobody does. I mean, there wasn't much, but the only kind of information you're getting out was from TikTok. So if this bill passes, that kind of stuff will not get out at all. Anything that the government does not want you to know, they're going to be able to surpass completely. And they're just going to keep flooding with BS propaganda. Here you go. We're taking care of you. Don't worry about us. Don't worry about us. North Korea? What? No. You crazy? North Korea is crazy. Dude, that's exactly where America is going. And then the other thing too is like, what does everybody do, especially in America, online? They do their banking online. Everything banking is online, right? You can do anything and everything on your phone or online. So if you're somebody that is a popular YouTuber or something like that, and they're putting out all kinds of information and getting some views and this and that, and they're not really doing anything that goes against the YouTube guidelines and all that kind of stuff, dude, they could put a hold on your bank account. And you think that, like, oh, they wouldn't do that. Like, how naive are you? It doesn't mean that they're going to, like, just steal the money. They would just put a freeze on it and then be like, oh, well, there was this. We had to put a freeze on it. There's a process. We'll do, just inconvenience you enough so that you're going to be like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. You know what I mean? It's all manipulation. It's all control. It's scary. But this is going on, dude. They are voting on this. I hope it's next week. I think it's next week. I hope I didn't miss it. This is going to come out and everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, it already happened. Shit. But yeah, if that scares you, because everything I said is pretty accurate. I'm not saying I know everything and I'm the most eloquent individual, but if anything I said kind of scares you, look it up, look into it, write your Congress, let people know, dude, this is not good. It's not right. It's not constitutional, really. I mean, I guess it is because they're going to get voted in, but nobody knows about it. You know what I mean? It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. We still have a year before the elections, before Trump can fix everything. So just keep that in mind. I don't know. Anyway, I hate to be like, it sucks to sit there and to just stress about this crap and people are like, oh, you fear monger. It's like, no, man, you can't. So was like Paul Revere, was he a fear monger? Riding through saying the redcoats are coming. The redcoats are coming. No, and all the what do they call it? Little newspapers and clippings they used to share in the pubs and everything back then. Was that fear mongering? No. They saw what was happening. They knew what was coming. And they're trying to get the information out there so they could save their country. And that's what people are doing. That's what I'm trying to do, I guess. I mean, even though I don't have, I don't know. It's scary. It's sad. And I hope they don't pass it. Let's hope they don't pass it. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've got. So thanks for listening. And I'll see you guys next time. You just put yourself through another episode of The Objective Jerk. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Please email me at theobjectivejerk@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, comment, wherever you find this, follow. It all helps. But thanks again, and I'll see you next time.